Hello, podcast listener. What do you think about fish? Do you want to invite me to your family's lake cabin? Well, we're going to dig into those issues today on JJ Meets World, plus some insight into the Fargo mayoral race. We don't talk at all about tacos, so if you've been waiting for tacos, this is not the podcast for you. For everyone else, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And by the way, if you'd like to help support our podcast, visit jjmeetsworld.com where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some killer swag at our merch shop, or click the link to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review.
1, 2, 3, 4. J.J. Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. J.J. has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirled as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called J.J. Meets World.
Tucker, the internet has weighed in. Along with some tech experts, the best flashlight on the market for this year is the Through Night Archer 2A V3. Right out of the box, you'll notice that the Through Night Archer 2A V3 has a sturdy, high-quality feel, and the knurled, K-N-U-R-L-E-D, knurled body makes it easy to maintain a solid grip. The lightweight, less than an ounce, and narrow diameter make it a convenient to carry without weighing you down too much flashlight. Even its 6-inch length is long enough to hold in various ways, yet short enough to fit easily into a bag. But the real highlight of the Through Night Archer 2A V3 is its dual button interface. A recessed tail switch powers it on and off, and low-profile side buttons cycles through the 4 brightness settings. The setup is the most convenient to use, and it really nails the ideal balance between the ease of use and maximum functionality. While single-button flashlights offer the same number of settings, I found myself struggling to remember the specific button sequence to find the setting I wanted, which never happened with this model. The people who reviewed this thing are way too into flashlights. Also, you can't figure out how to use the buttons? Come on.
Why did you pick up a new flashlight, or are you just aware of what's trending?
I'm in the market for a new flashlight.
Okay,
and so I decided to go to Consumer Reports.
Is this for your night prowling, or why are you looking for a flashlight?
So I am due to do some cleaning in my crawl space, and I really need to illuminate some areas that don't get a lot of light from the 2 exposed light bulbs that I keep in the basement, in the crawl space specifically. And so I was like, it's time to get a flashlight. And when I was a kid, one of the things I asked for my birthday was one of the giant Maglite ones, right? 5D batteries. That thing weighed 20 pounds. It essentially was meant to be a weapon as well as a flashlight. It was the flashlight of every security guard out there. That thing was heavy as hell. Yeah. And it's inconvenient, and if I put it in my pocket, it won't, I can't bend over right.
Flashlights are getting really powerful, too.
They are.
The amount of lumens those damn things can put out now is insane. But I get really into those ads on Instagram, too, where you're seeing someone with, it's like the flashlight's so powerful they call it a tactical flashlight or something.
Right, exactly.
You could use it to blind helicopter pilots if you wanted to.
This was the flashlight that found Osama bin Laden. I had a flashlight at the lake as a kid that had a 2 million candle power, and you could shine it across the lake.
Wow.
It would illuminate the woods across the lake. And I think that that's probably bright enough that there was potentially, if I pointed it towards an airplane, I could have committed a federal crime. I was smart enough not to do that.
I wonder what kind of night photography we could do with a really just powerful flashlight, and
probably a lot.
A camera on a slow shutter or something. That'd be kind
of
neat.
The 2 million candle power flashlight, if you put your hand in front of it, it made your hand really hot.
So you were at my lake cabin for the first time today. Do you think would that light have been able to cross? Obviously, into the peninsula would have been easy, but across the lake, do you think?
I think it would have had the potential.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as there wasn't a ton of other light pollution to kind of dull it out as it went across, I think it would have made it across the lake.
You know, I was really excited about showing you my lake today. Our lake,
I was very excited.
Our lake cabin, because it's a place I'm really proud of and I love it, right? And it's the only place I still have from my childhood. Like, we don't live in any of our childhood homes. You know, Mama Luke's farm isn't ours anymore and all that stuff. But I still have this lake cabin that I can always go to. It's like the one place that feels like I'm at home when I'm there. And I just think it's such a picturesque, like, beautiful little area. And JJ was very giving of his time and energy today, and I was able to con him into coming to Cotton Lake with me for the morning to help put my dock in.
How long have we been friends?
When Final Fantasy the movie came out.
So what was that, like
2001? 2000?
No.
2000?
It was after I graduated from high school, right?
We met...
Maybe like 2003?
We met... I was still in high school when we met, because it was the camp out for Final Fantasy.
So like the summer of 2002, would that seem right?
That sounds about right.
So we're going to chalk it up to 24 years.
Yeah.
What did I do to you where you never took me to your lake cabin?
I've never taken anyone to my lake cabin.
No, that's not true.
That's not true. No, you're right.
You said that
I'm speaking in
just
hyperbole.
today you were reminiscing about a time with Mike Rezel and someone Gulia, Lisa Gulia.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was speaking in hyperbole there. Let me rephrase that.
You've taken your real friends to your
by
lake
and
cabin.
large, like 98% of the trips that I do there, it's just me and maybe one or two family members. I've never brought, like, you know, full, like, you have stories about hosting parties, like bacchanals, like crazy stuff at your old lake property and stuff like that. You were even telling me today about, like, the Heitkamp family and how they have big shindigs. That's not
a cool compound.
That's not
and
my
you know what?
style.
Every year I get invited down there. Every year.
Yep, every year. And there's no parties I'm throwing at all at my lake cabin.
But not even just to like, I didn't even get a, hey, if you're in the lakes area, swing by.
Oh, I'm sorry,
and like,
buddy.
I thought maybe you didn't want me to come to your lake cabin because it was shitty.
No.
But it's a beautiful space. It's very calming. There's plenty of room. In fact, you and your mom were gloating about the fact that you've had RVs down there, and sometimes people just have tents, and you have so many people. Mm-hmm. I mean, what? I spent a whole night playing goddamn Boulder Dash at your mom's house that one time, and I was a great team member, and I never even got invited down to your lake cabin.
Well, let's change that.
Yeah, and listen, I know other people who have lake cabins, and they've never invited me down to their lake cabin.
I think there's probably been one or two times where I probably did invite you, and then you were like, oh, hey, something came up and I can't.
No, I will tell you right here, right now, when I got invited to help you put your dock and boat lift in, that was the first time I was invited to your lake cabin. Okay. And I knew all about it because you're always talking about how you fish for Sunnies and you have such a great time. And I got to tell you, in my mind,
alone, JJ. I do that alone.
I had worked up a vision of what your lake cabin looked like, and it wasn't even close.
JJ,
it wasn't even close to what I saw.
Listen, if you really want to come do a lake cabin weekend the way I do it, you're welcome to join me. But you're not gonna like it.
Why?
Because I'm just gonna fish, and then I'm gonna clean that fish, and I'm gonna eat that fish, and I'm not.
What makes you think that I don't like or know how to fish?
I don't think you would. I think you like the social atmosphere of, like, things happening.
I do like that.
Yeah,
but I also enjoy fish.
I didn't know that about you. I did not know
enjoy fish.
That you like fishing.
I would dare say that I'm probably one of the best fish filleters that you know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now I'm really intrigued. I did not know that. I can clean a fish. I'm just not like amazing at it, but I can do it.
At my work,
I would love to see how you do it.
At my work, one of the things that they do is we do this like big, they call it the walleye connection, and then you go to a resort on the Lake of the Woods, and one of the big pushes for that is they will clean the fish that you catch. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, listen, I don't like working with fish guts, but I'm good at it.
Okay, so I just catch a Sunny, and it's a keeper.
Okay.
And I bring it over to you, and I'm like, JJ, this one's ready to clean.
Yep.
Walk me through your process. What?
How am I cooking it?
You're gonna fry it in shore lunch.
Okay. So I would start with, like, obviously the skin, and I would get the scale, like I would descale it. Have you ever seen the people who take a drill and like an egg beater bit and they like run it over that? I'm like, that is bull. There's no way that works. You're dirty liars.
Yeah.
So I would do that. I would gut it, right? I would right the belly. The belly's where it's all about on that fish, right? And then I would peel it back. I have a really nice fillet knife that I use that has this like special like hooked tip that I really like. That's really good for the deboning. So I would debone a lot of this. Now, I will say this. I love roasting a fish where you can like roast it over a fire, and then you you take off the skin after you roast it, so you kind of get this fish presentation.
I see.
Yeah, I think you'd love it.
That's very interesting. I was taught a completely different technique.
Are you taking the head off first, or what are you doing?
So that's actually one that I started doing just because I got the way my grandmother taught me how to do it. Like you're cleaning that fish while it's alive. Like it's just it's alive, and it's not even dead once you're done cleaning it. Like you're still fucking alive. So I do cut all the way down just to sever the spinal artery, so that I know, okay, the fish is dead. There's no more connection to its brain. And so more than likely it's not feeling the next bunch of things I'm going to do. So on a sunny, yeah, I would. So if like this, people can't see it, but I would basically be holding a sunny with its spine straight up, right? So it's almost like it's upright. And I would cut down between right back where the kind of the skull ends and the fish body begins, cut down through and cut and sever the head. And then lay it on its side, and then on a sunny, you take the tip of the knife and you poke it through onto the top, right next to where the spine fin is, and you cut down just a little bit all the way to the tail, and then from there you peel that, and you start to just peel, and you basically slice the whole side of it off. You don't end up descaling it, because then you just cut the skin off underneath it. And so then you've just got just a piece of skin flesh, or of fish flesh right there. And yes, that's just what I would do, and then the rest just.
How many sunnies do you think you need to feel satisfied as far as a meal?
Oh, I mean, that's a good question. It's gonna be. I mean, it also depends on the size of the sunnies, because like you can get like if they're keepers, you're getting a little bit of meat, and then you can get some really nice big ones. I'd say, but let me phrase it this way too. Every time I've done this, I usually cook it like in a big. I cook enough for a bunch of people. So I'd say if I had 15 to 20 sunnies, we'd have a nice little tray of sunny nuggets fried in shore lunch. And that could, a couple, 3-4 people could eat that.
Do you wear a glove when you do this?
I've started to, because it's just so hard to hold onto the fish.
Yeah.
So only recently have I started using gloves just to try to hold onto it. And then also you can be less gingerly about the spine, or about the fin on the back, because if you go the wrong way, it can actually stab you and cut you, which really sucks. Now the fish I've cleaned and I hate doing are northern pike. I love catching northern pike. They're cool fish. They're really cool fish, and their meat tastes good like fish. But northern pike have really brittle bones. And so they break off in the meat really, really easy. And so what often happens is people end up like pickling the meat instead, or like going in and softening it in some way, or doing something else to it besides that. So usually, but off the dock is pretty much what I'm always doing. And it's almost always sunnies and then some bass. It's almost never a northern.
Every now and then I like watching YouTube videos of people filleting a fish, because when you see someone who's a master filleter, and you can see that's like, oh, that is so satisfying in so many ways. It's so nice.
Well, how about we do an episode where you and I go fishing, and we'll, so the thing was you and I had the same thought, because JJ and I drove down my lake cabin this morning with my little brother Solomon. It takes about an hour and 15 minutes to get down there. And we essentially could have recorded 2 podcasts there and back. I mean, we basically did our podcast for my little brother on the way down.
Yeah, a live version of it.
Basically is what we did. Well, thank you again for that. I appreciate that.
It's
and
my pleasure.
I owe you a fun fishing day or fishing weekend. We'll figure it out.
Well, if you recall the beginning of this podcast, I was talking about having to move things out of my crawl space.
Okay.
And you'd be a great person to help me with that.
Yeah,
I think
I'd love to help you with that.
One of my problems in my crawl space is that Jill has like 6 skeletons that she's purchased over the years for like Halloween and different stuff. And so finding a good spot to store the skeletons always becomes a little bit of an issue. But I'm finally, this is a big moment for me. So last year was 10 years since my mom passed. Mm-hmm. And when we sold our lake cabin after my dad passed, we brought all the stuff from the lake cabin to Fargo that wasn't going to go anywhere, right? So the things we kept. So we had, my Fargo house had all of the lake cabin stuff, all of my mom's stuff. And then when Jill and I moved in, we had our whole house full of stuff. And I've been very sentimental about a lot of things, so I haven't gotten rid of everything. Well, now I'm ready to purge. Like, I'm ready to be gone with some of this stuff. And so Furniture Mission of the Red River Valley will be getting a bunch of my stuff that they can use to give to somebody. But I talked to my sister about it because I was like, well, is there anything you're going to want to have? And at one point, my mom bought a bunch of furniture that each side of it is a different color. Okay? So, like, one side is this green, and one side is this pink, and one side is this blue. And we have a hutch that matches that. And then we have a behind-the-couch table that matches that. And we have a large, like, ottoman-shaped table that used to be in our living room. And it's a really big, beautiful, like, table, but it's multicolored, and it's, I mean, all made out of real wood and stuff like that. And I decided it's time to see that go. I don't need it anymore. I also had a bunch of stuff that we got from my grandfather's house that is beautiful pieces of furniture, but I'm not using it, and I don't intend on using it anytime soon. So we have all this stuff that'll be finding a new home, and I can't wait for that. Because, boy, oh boy, that crawl space underneath my house just fills up so quickly with stuff that I'm like, I'll deal with this later. This will be a problem for future JJ. Well, future JJ's here, and he's pissed that he has to deal with all that stuff. So I'm excited to kind of get some of that stuff moved out. And people were like, well, why didn't you do it during cleanup week? And I said, because as much as I love cleanup week, and I love good garbage, some of this stuff is really good and could use a home with someone who really needs it and appreciates it, not just someone who's going to pick it up and like refinish it and sell it on Facebook Marketplace for $40. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about this. This is something that came to my attention this last week. So at Fargo South High, where I've been helping with their drama department, they have a 3D printer. And I thought, well, why are they storing a 3D printer like in the drama department for that? Well, I found out through the grapevine that it was purchased so that they can make props, right? Which totally makes sense, right? Like, of course, if you need a very specific prop, you can do it. Well, then I found out that the guy who bought the wrong kind of printer. It's a resin printer versus a filament-based printer. And the resin printers are fine, but they take so much more, and you got to refill it, and the resin can go bad, whereas the filament can sit there forever and ever and ever. So I was looking at a new version of this printer, and I'm like, this would be awesome. Can you imagine that in a world where, like, oh, you're getting ready for a show and you could 3D print the stuff that you need for that show? That is next level. And here's an idea. If you work at Samuel French, let's say, okay? So let's say you work at one of the companies. If you don't know this, Samuel French is a company that holds the licensing rights to a ton of shows, like musicals and plays and stuff like that. So you order copies of the play from them, but they're the ones you also pay the like $50 performance fee to, and then they turn around and give it to the artists. So it's kind of like Apple Music a little bit, right? So one of the things Samuel French could offer, because they offer temp tracks and then the recordings of the bands and the orchestras for musicals. But one of the things they could offer is, for an extra $5, we will give you the downloadable plans for the props that you might need in this that are off, that are not different. So, for example, there's a play called Puffs, and it is about Hufflepuffs in Hogwarts, and it takes place like, hey, what did the other students at Hogwarts do while Harry Potter was busy doing his thing? And one of the props that you need is the Tri-Wizard Tournament Cup. And they could say, hey, here you go. It prints in 7 different pieces, and then you glue them all together. Here's your Tri-Wizard Cup. So if you don't have a tech director or someone who's design handy, you can take care of this. If you need to have a sword that has a special hilt for it, we will, you can get the hilt from it. It seems like a total no-brainer. And of course, if you have a robust group of theater professionals who can do that, that's great. But sometimes the person who's directing the play is an English teacher, and they don't have the ability to do this. And so if you can turn over to your VOTech ed class and be like, hey, listen, would you guys do this big thing where you're going to print me 40 goblets that I'm going to use in Romeo and Juliet? And they're like, yeah, we can print you goblets. I think that is a great idea. Totally. Like, why not? I met a guy this last week who printed a full-size Droidica from episode 1, and it is 6'4" tall. It's 4 feet wide, and he printed the whole thing and did all the painting. And it's impressive. It's really amazing. We should have this guy on because I'm telling you, Tucker, he was really interesting. But so, like, we're living just in this world where, like, most of the stuff you find to 3D print online are people who've just done the due diligence, and they're putting it out there, and it's freeware for people to use. I haven't designed anything because I'm not very good at 3D. Do you use any of the Adobe products that can allow you to make like 3D like effects and things like that?
You mean like for videos and stuff, or
for videos? Because a lot of times they said like you can take the modeling that you create in is it Lightroom or After Effects, one or the other of those, and you can apply it.
I use After Effects. Yeah, I mean After Effects. You can create like a 3D space to like put the model in and stuff like that. I'm sure, or in a few other engines that are out there too. But yeah.
I know a couple people who got into this world of where they are 3D printing pieces to board games, and let's say you're missing a piece to a board game, you can get it 3D printed through them. That'd be nice. That is genius. That's so cool. I dig that so much.
That'd be really nice. They've been in 3D printing houses now. Yeah,
with those like giant concrete 3D printers, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
let's live in a world where, like, wouldn't you? I mean, it looks weird, like when you see it, and I know that so much more goes into it than just
and it's still kind of prototypical, I think, at this point.
But like, imagine a world where like you could do that like in a third world country, and so all of a sudden you can create these stable homes.
I know they've talked a lot about that for things like the International Space Station, where I think they do it now. Certain parts that they might need, they don't fly all the parts up there. They just keep a 3D printer up there with a certain kind of resin they can use or whatever, and the filament, and then they can 3D print parts up there instead of having to like send rocket ships up, just estimating what you may end up needing.
And that same idea is being used by other companies. So like I had heard through the grapevine that John Deere was experimenting with this 3D printer that you would essentially license through them. And that way, like if a part broke, you could just put the model number in and it would 3D print that part for you. And so you'd be able to like replace parts on your on your combine or tractor. And I'm like, that is genius. Yeah, it's so expensive.
Imagine if that technology can eventually be used for objects that are metal, right?
Yeah,
that would be insane. Like if you could literally 3D print metal objects in your.
Do you know how? Like, do you know who's leading that? The people who research spiders, because spider silk has been one of those things that they've wanted to research over and over and over because it's got such a huge strength to it. And so I was just following someone on Instagram who. She's a spider scientist, and one of the things that she said she's working on is figuring out a way to make filament using like spider silk to be able to like create this super strong piece, because like that's the problem, right? Is that you can't print a part that's going to be in your combine that's made from the filament that I can get at the store, because it'll melt, it'll break, it'll under stress. But I do think it's very interesting. Now, we had a couple of people who requested some content specifically for this episode, so I just want to. We're going to go through that really quick.
We could rattle it through.
Yeah.
We were hanging out. We were hanging out with some boys today, some dudes.
Yeah,
some stuff.
Some dudes where we were building and stapling, and I'm actually really impressed at the stuff that they built. The trees look really good that they built.
Yeah, it's actually been a lot of fun. One problem that we've run into, that crew and I have run into, is that Home Depot and Menards will each sell something that they call a 1x3, but even their versions of like a 1x3 are off from each other. So, like, if you wanted to buy a bunch of 1x3s, just make sure you only ever do it at one store. But, like, we'd never run into that before, and there's a lot of the flat design that's supposed to be flush. Have you run into that, where it's just like, yeah, it's sort of 1x3-ish?
Yes. So, here's something interesting that I wanted to bring up, which is there was a 2014 civil consumer protection action brought by the district attorneys in California against Lowe's over how it advertised structural dimensional building products like 2x4s. Lowe's ordered to pay $1.6 million settlement to resolve claims that their lumber labeling was misleading because the building industry standard for a 2x4 to actually measure 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. The lawsuit required Lowe's to update its labeling in the following ways. It actually has to include the actual product dimension. Any common product description like 2x4 must be followed by the actual dimensions. Standardized units. Descriptions must use standard inch-pound units like inch or FT feet, and cannot use confusing symbols like the quote marks for inches or the single like apostrophe for feet. Use clear language. Popular names must be clearly described as popular names or commonly called, so consumers understand they are not buying a raw 2-inch by 4-inch piece of wood.
Yeah. So to expound upon that, then at Menards or even at Home Depot, it'll say 1x3, and then right below it, it'll have the actual true dimensions. But they each have their own set of true dimensions.
Yeah.
So it's it's not even like a standard, like a 2x4 is, it's never really a 2x4. It's just that's what we call it instead of 1.58 by whatever.
It seems dumb. And I wonder who's the first person, because I have to imagine 2x4s actually used to be 2x4. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? Which is 2 inches by 4 inches.
What else was on our list that we had we promised we'd talk about?
I don't remember anything else.
One was I asked a lady out and I got shot down.
Oh, that's too bad.
That's okay though.
That's
how
her loss.
Yeah, I mean probably. More than likely.
I can't wait for her to be crying one night and thinking to herself, why? Yeah. She's gonna write a song about it.
Yep, and it'll be the night after I've given my Oscars award speech.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Are you gonna name her in the speech?
I'll name.
Have I ever told you about what my plan for my Oscar award speech is?
No.
So my Oscar award speech will be like this. Everyone I love knows that I love them, and I'll get you on the second round. But I'm going to use this time to talk to the people who said I couldn't do this. And it's going to be vengeful and spiteful. It's the type of thing that they're going to play for the next 50 years.
Nice.
I'm not going to do that like, see, a boy from North Dakota can sure make good. No. I'm going to go straight into it and be like, hey, Helen, thanks for letting everyone know that I was I peed my pants in second grade. This goes out to you. Hope you're enjoying your shit life.
Were you proud of what you made today? You put some stuff together today. I thought you did a really, really good job.
Thank you. This is what confounded me. They're like, you need to build prison benches. Well, that is very much up to the imagination, right?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, so give me an idea of what these at least look like, right? How long are they? How deep are they? How high should they be? What material am I using? And so it became this thing of where it was like, here's an example. So this Ben went and got books about like woodworking and showed me an example. I'm like, okay, I got it. And I ran with the concept from there, right? Like, I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'll build it. It'll be easy. It wasn't as stable as I wanted them to be, so I added some cross bracing to it. But the thing I was really proud of today is they had all of these boards that were old fence boards and some old like cedar 2x4 pieces. I used so much scrap to build these, what are supposed to look like crummy old benches and tables, that I was really proud of, like being able to reduce, reuse, recycle and use all of that old stuff. But I will tell you this right now. I was like, these, because I had to ask, okay, so what's my weight ratio on these? Like, who's going to be sitting on these benches? Because it's a big difference if I, build them so that I can sit on them versus, if someone who's like dainty and weighs like 100 pounds is going to sit on them. And then when I asked, do the tables that I was building need to have this? But even that, it was a matter of like, well, how many tables are we building? And then a crew of people had to think about it, and they're like, somewhere between 2 and 6 tables. That's a big difference.
When that number was thrown out, I was like, whoa.
Right. We absolutely need 3, but we should probably make 4. And I'm like, okay, so 4 tables it is. You got it. And the thing that's amazing to me about that is there was no plan as far as materials, right? So if someone had said you need to build 6 tables, I'd say, there's not enough scrap for all of this to build 6 tables. And so I enjoy flying on the seat of the pants. It really did remind me of like building stuff for the theater back in the day.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And tomorrow I build a deck. So it's all good in the hood.
Tomorrow.
Is there anything else that we have what?
Tomorrow, which will be the day that we're all listening to this.
Oh, today I'm building a deck.
This is coming out on Memorial Day.
Oh.
Which I totally I forgot was about veterans. I totally
really
forgot. I did just for a moment today. Because when I was over, we were working, and I asked Ben Moen, like, hey, so how are you celebrating? What are you doing for Memorial Day? And he goes, probably nothing, unless my parents call me if like they want to go to the cemetery. And I went, oh, why would you go to the cemetery? I couldn't think of it. And he goes, because my grandfather who is dead is buried there and he served in the army. And I was like, oh, that's right. That's what Memorial Day's for.
Yeah. I mean, we can all be better about that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sort of that, like, you know what I want to watch Team America tomorrow. That'll be a good, or today, I guess I should say. Because there's some good stuff there. Although I will say this, the amount of groups that put together these services on Memorial Day, and a lot of them do the same thing on like Veterans Day, is really amazing. And giving people an opportunity to partake in a bunch of these great events is just mind-blowingly amazing to me. So, good for them.
So yesterday, or today, but it's yesterday to the audience who's listening to this. Here's the thing.
Or if they're listening to it in 2027...
That's true.
It's a year later.
So you came and you helped me in my lake cabin today, and then you helped us build a bunch of set stuff, and you stood out there in the heat. And to help pay you back, I'm gonna do a bunch of crawl space work for you, and I'm gonna
put you in a dark basement.
Yep, and I might even take you fishing, right? So for Memorial Day, now you're building a deck for your wife's parents. Mm-hmm. What are they gonna do for you?
Well, I mean, to be honest, they've already done quite a bit.
Oh, have they?
But I don't know. I'll probably figure something out. Be like, I'd love some more Legos. Give them to me immediately. But I think, in the long run, I will probably just do it because I'm a good person. And I hate being a good person sometimes. I'd rather be a mean-spirited person. Like, as much as we are to think that Scrooge is, lonely all the time. I don't think he's a rich old man.
One thing that I just thought of that I wanted to make sure to bring up is someone recently, you told me this, someone recently asked you, JJ, how come you're not running for mayor of Fargo right now? And there's a big part of me, I understand why you're not, but there's a big part of me that wishes you were.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to run for governor.
First, I think you could do it. I think you'd be good at it. It wouldn't just be a voting for you because you're my friend, but also just because, and I'm not trying to shade all the candidates, but when I look at some of the candidates on that slate and I think about them becoming mayor, I'm just like, oh, God, no, please, God, no. We need all the good people we can find who are willing to do.
I have no doubt that the people who are running for mayor in Fargo right now all want to be the mayor. But I also want to know why they want to be the mayor, right? And that is something that that I'm kind of struggling with their messaging to everybody. It'll be fine, right? I think, for the most part. We'll find out. This is why I'm not running for mayor. This next term for whoever wins is going to be horrible. We're in a massive amount of debt. There's scandal with our communications department and other city employees. Our budget's going crazy. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't with this convention center and how that thing all goes. You've got giant amounts of the city that need huge infrastructure to be replaced, but how are you going to do that without having to raise taxes? This would not be the time I'd want to be mayor. But some people do. We need a mayor. We're going to have a mayor no matter what. So yeah, it'll be interesting to say the least. And this mayor's got to get along well with the other mayors. And what do you really get if you're the mayor of a town? Our mayor doesn't even wear a sash. Think that they should wear a sash and a top hat and a monocle, and they should pretty much, be like, you took second place in a beauty contest from Monopoly.
You could make that happen if you were mayor.
Or I could make it happen by putting a citizens group together called Sashes for the Mayor and get 1,000 signatures.
You know what you should do? Is you should use that new 3D printer you have access to at the school and make your own Monopoly board pieces.
Oh, I like that a lot.
All right, JJ's going to design his own Monopoly board.
Actually, what we should do is we should do a JJ Meets Worldopoly.
There you go.
One of those different ones where we get to name all the places. I think people would enjoy that.
And then compete like hell.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
We haven't had our blood raised in a good Monopoly fight for a while.
This is gonna sound weird, but there are things about COVID I miss, and that's one of them.
Yeah, that's one.
It was really good. Okay, well, I'm very tired and I need to wake up today. I think that's how we're phrasing these things, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help us continue to produce new episodes each week, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some swag at the merch shop, or follow our link to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the sites the cool kids are using these days. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by visiting moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, check out linebenders.com, where you can find direct contact info for JJ or booking information. I lied. I am going to talk about tacos, because there's a 3-block section of University now that I'm calling Taco Town because there's 3 taco restaurants in a row.